Hello there, and welcome to another CPD talk. This is going to be in a very similar format to the previous CPD talks. All of the related document numbers are in the description box below. As well as that, today there are a couple of other resources on the IBMS website, so there are links for those down below as well. So today's topic is on what is CPD, why do we do it, and how do we keep track of it. We're going to cover the definition of CPD, why we need to perform CPD, what counts as CPD, how we keep track of CPD, CPD and the HCPC, the IBMS CPD validation / scheme, and then any feedback or any further questions that you may have. So, definition of CPD. CPD, simply put, is continuing professional development. The point of CPD is to show that you are constantly learning and therefore keeping up to date with best practice. If you're a member of a professional body, such as the HCPC, you are required to have partaken in at least 2 pieces of CPD per month. So why do we need to perform CPD? The overall purpose of CPD is to ensure that we are up to date with what is happening in the world. So I believe that previously I mentioned evidence-based practice. CPD is basically our way of ensuring that we are performing evidence-based practice. It means that we are keeping up to date with the most recent evidence being released, applying that to our practice, and therefore giving the patient the best possible experience. So, what counts as CPD? The simple answer is anything where you are learning. So this could be something as simple as completing a competency at work, or something as complex as writing a paper to be published. The IBMS has split this into 5 different categories. So you've got work-based learning, formal education, professional activity, self-directing learning, and then other. I'm going to go through these and give some examples of each of these later on in the presentation. However, with all of these types of learning, it's expected that you will reflect on them. This is known as reflective practice. Now, this information I've taken from the IBMS's website. So they have a whole presentation on reflective practice and how to best perform reflective practice. I've only taken the first sort of slide so that we can cover this in a generalised manner. So reflective practice should be an objective and systematic approach to improving the ease and effectiveness of our way of working. What this means is it is a way of us reviewing what we have done, whether that be a specific task, a piece of learning, or a procedure, having a look at all of the things that went well, the things that didn't go so well, and looking at how we can improve upon it, both on the things that have gone well so that they can be even better, and on the things that haven't gone as well. How can we bring those up and make it better for the patient? This could be spending more time doing CPD. It could be changing a procedure. So the whole point of us doing this is basically for us to review every little thing that we've been doing and take out anything that's good, anything that's bad, and just making the overall system better. Therefore, it is a tool for self-empowerment. It's a good way of showing where you have done things well. And then, once you've done it once and then put forward any changes, you can then reflect back on what has happened and you can see how well you've learned from that, how well you have implemented any changes that you originally saw were needed. The overall point of reflective practice is to increase the personal effectiveness and therefore benefit the service user. For the IBMS, any CPD that you do, you should reflect upon. This is so that you can see how this learning actually does relate back to your practice and put it back into practice in a daily routine. So, IBMS's 5 CPD categories. The first one is work-based learning. So this is something as simple as reflecting on an experience at work. For example, in one of the competencies that is currently out, it asks you to reflect on a telephone call that you have taken, reflect on what's gone well, what's gone badly, how it could be improved. Something as simple as that could be used as CPD because it is showing how you have reflected on a task that you've done and how that could then impact you further on down the line. It could also be being a member of a committee, considering feedback from service users, professional activity. So, for example, being involved in a professional body or giving a presentation at a conference. So this presentation for me would count as CPD because I have spent the time to research it, to put it together, and then I'll reflect on what I think went well, what I think didn't go so well, so that next time I give a presentation, hopefully it'll be even better. Formal education. So this is going on a course, carrying out researches. If you've done a registration portfolio, this would count. If you're doing a specialist portfolio, the evidence that you are gathering there will probably fall under more than one of these categories. So if you are doing any form of studying with the IBMS, any form of portfolio, that is going to count towards your CPD. So you don't need to be doing extra CPD if you're doing enough each month to fill up those 2 per month. Self-directed learning. So, for example, reading articles or books. So if you're studying for something, then this would count. You've got journal-based learning as well. That's on the IBMS website. So that would be where you're given a journal to read and then they give you, I think, 10 or 20 questions that you have to answer. And if you answer enough of them correctly, then you pass. If you don't, you fail, and then you can reflect on that. So that's another form of learning. And then finally, other is anything that wouldn't fit into the above categories. I'm not sure what this would be, but there's always going to be something that's not going to fit into the first 4. So how do we keep track of your CPD? So ultimately, CPD is your responsibility. It is the responsibility of the trust to give you the opportunities to perform CPD. So that might be sending you on talks, mandatory training counts as CPD, these presentations. However, it's your responsibility to actually partake in the CPD, to want to go to it and to record it effectively. So how you actually keep track of it is up to you. The IBMS do have an online system, which I'm going to go through in a couple of slides' time, where you can track your CPD. But really, that's just keeping track of what you've done when. It won't have the space for you to put the reflections on necessarily. There's also a document in your training folders at the back where you can tick off which pieces of CPD you've done each month. Again, this is more just to keep track of what you've done each month. However, you should also have a CPD folder. So this will be the folder with your certificate of attendance, certificate of completion, all of your reflections in, everything just in one place that you can find really easily if you need to find it. But why would you need to find it? As I mentioned earlier, to be registered with the HCPC, you have to be doing regular CPD. The HCPC will audit this. They do this on a random basis, so you may never be audited by the HCPC, or you could be audited 3 or 4 times if you're really unlucky. So what does the HCPC audit mean? What will happen is they will notify you that you are being audited to show that you are doing CPD regularly. They send you some paperwork that you're expected to fill out. The paperwork is quite comprehensive, but it is quite self-explanatory. Alongside that paperwork, they may ask for evidence to show that you have actually done this CPD. You then send that back to them. If there's anything they're unhappy with, they will get back to you again and ask for further evidence. If you don't have enough CPD, then they may refuse your registration. If you're not registered, you can't work as a BMS. So you can see why it is really, really important to keep up to date on your CPD. Obviously, it's also important to keep up to date on your CPD to ensure the patients are getting the best possible care. So the IBMS and CPD. As I previously mentioned, the IBMS provide a lot of CPD for us. If you're a member of the IBMS, then not only do they have resources to help with the completion of CPD, but if you record your CPD with them, you can get an award once you've recorded 24 pieces. So if we go and have a look at this website, so this is the CPD page of the IBMS website. You can see on this page you have the information about what CPD is, reflective practice. So this bit here, the little link, will have the presentation on it about reflective practice, your CPD, journal-based learning, and science reading resources. So they have quite a lot of information here for you. So if we click on My CPD, you can see you've got the My IBMS CPD e-portfolio. It's a platform where you can record and monitor your CPD activities online. So you can see with mine, it's been a while since I've put any CPD on, but I've got one work-based learning and one formal education learning currently. I registered with the IBMS in 2014, so I've been a member for 6 years, and I still have not got a diploma on it because I'm bad at actually recording this on the website. But if we click on this one, IBMS scheme and validation, you can see that they have a whole bit of information about how you can achieve a diploma on the IBMS CPD scheme. Again, I will link this website down in the description box below. If you have completed a registration portfolio or a specialist portfolio, then you would have to be a member of the IBMS. Therefore, you will have access to this. It's got a lot of interesting and useful presentations. It has a lot of interesting and useful presentations, as well as CPD resources. So the links to all of the information about the IBMS will be in the description box below. So if you need any more information, you can come and see me or one of your other seniors. I hope that this presentation has been informative on what CPD is, why we have to perform it, and how you should be recording your CPD. If you have any questions or feedback, then please feel free to contact myself or discuss it with any of the other seniors. CPD is applicable for all areas, so this will be blood transfusion, haematology, biochemistry, wherever you are. If you're a registered professional, it is very important that you are keeping up to date on your CPD. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to the next presentation. Bye!